Okay, so these are basic practice problems to accompany my review of radicals video. So in this video, I am going to go through all of the problems that you see here. So you can pause if you want to read all of these over. And hey, by the way, this video specifically continues extra practice exercises that accompany a review video on the same topic. So if you want to see that review video of like how to do these problems at a slower pace, check the description for a link to the review video. And also, you can get a free PDF version of all those problems that I just showed you with an answer key at divideandconquermath.com. Just go to the review section. Okay, so what I am usually a big fan of is, if you are trying to learn this, I highly recommend that you at least try these on your own and then watch the video and, maybe look against the answer key. But when I do these, I just jump right into them and just go through everything. So if you want to read something over, feel free to pause here and try it, but I'm just going to start plowing through these. Okay, square root of 4, so that's 2. Cube root of 8, also 2. Square root of 16, that is 4. Fourth root of 16, that is 2. Okay, so first things first, if you struggled with any of those, I would highly recommend that you memorize this table of squares, cubes, and just other things. This is a very handy thing to know, and it's common for students to not know these off the top of their head. So if you are doing this for review, these are the really clutch things. You can pause the video to write them down, but these are the things that you're going to want to know. Okay, so let's keep going. Cube root of 125, 5. Okay, square root of 81 x to the 4th. Okay, so this is one where we talked about how to break these down. So the square root of 81 is 9, and then for x to the 4th, so since this is a square root, since this is a visible 2 out here, I'm just going to divide this 4 by 2. So this is going to be 9x squared versus the 4th root of 81 x to the 4th. Well, 3 to the 4th is 81. You can see that here. So the 4th root of 81 is 3, and then I'm going to divide this exponent 4 by now 4 because it's a 4th root. So this is just going to be 3x. Okay, 4th root of negative 16. So I talked about this in the review video. This does not exist because it is an even root. Okay, and FYI, if you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, please consider hitting the like button or the subscribe button. That would be super awesome. Continuing on, the cube root of negative 1. So cubes of negative numbers are all good, and so for the cube root of negative 1, this just equals negative 1. This is just negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Oops, times negative 1. And that will ultimately equal negative 1. Okay, so now we're getting into simplifying slightly more complicated square roots. So the square root of 12. So we actually did this one in the review video, so this is just a chance to see if you still remember it. So we are looking for the largest possible square that goes into 12. So that would be 4. So this is going to break down as square root of 4 times square root of 3. 4 times 3 is 12. And then I can write this as 2 times the square root of 3. For the square root of 32, the largest possible square root that goes into this is 16. But actually what I want to do is I want to do this in a slightly different way because I didn't talk about this in the review video. So what if you look at the square root of 32 and you think that 4 is the largest square root that goes into this? Okay, so this is totally fine. So the square root of 4 is 2, so you're left with 2 times the square root of 8. So the last thing that you might want to check, if this is the answer that you got, is just ask yourself, are there any other perfect squares that can divide into this number? And in this case, yes, there is, right? So 8 can be divided by 4. So I can just break this down again as 2 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. So this becomes 2 times the square root of 2. It's a lot of 2's, I know. So this is going to equal 4 times the square root of 2. Okay, cool. So continuing on, now I've got the cube root of 18. So if you're struggling with this one, so if we look at the list of cubes, so do any of these numbers divide into 18? I don't think so. So cube root of 18 can't be simplified. That is a possibility. So I am just trying to keep you on your toes, my friends. Okay, so continuing on, 4th root of 32. Okay, so the largest 4th root that goes into 32 is 16. So this is going to be the 4th root of 16 times the fourth root of 2. So this is going to be 2 times the fourth root of 2. Okay, square root of 75. So this is going to be the square root of 25 times the square root of 3. So this is going to be 5 times the square root of 3. Cube root of 250. The largest cube root, or the largest cube that goes into 250 is 125. So I can break this down into cube root of 125 times the cube root of 2. So this is 5 times the cube root of 2. Next, we have the square root of 500 times x to the 6th. Okay, so for 500, so the largest possible square, so we actually need to break this down kind of separately. And this is something I talked about in the other video. So as you're getting used to this, you might want to just break out the square root of 500 by itself if it feels a little disorienting to you at first to work with this. So square root of 500 can be broken into square root of 100 times the square root of 5. And so this equals 10 times the square root of 5. Okay, so now I have to think about what do I do with this square root of x to the 6th. So I could also break that out separately if it feels overwhelming. So this would just be, so I just divide 6 by 2. This is going to equal x to the 3rd. Okay, so what would my final answer be then? The square root of 500 x to the 6th. This will be 10 times x to the 3rd times the square root of 5. Okay, and so after all that work, for the next one, we have the fourth root of negative 32. So again, just making sure you remember this, the fourth root of a negative number does not exist. Okay, and for the final one, so I have negative 375 x to the 9th y to the 6th. So I'm going to break this out in the other way that I talked about in the review video. So I'm going to write in this first radical negative 125 x to the 9th y to the 6th. So these are the pieces that I can actually take the cube root of. And 125 times 3 will give me 375. So then I just multiply this by this part, which I cannot take the cube root of. So the final answer here will be negative 5 x to the 3rd y squared, and then the cube root of 3. Okay, so there you have it. So my review series, by the way, has a lot of other topics in it, and each topic includes a refresher video, practice problems, an answer key. If you want to check those out, you can go to divideandconquermath.com and then just go to the review section and you can find everything for free. And there is a second practice problem video with harder problems. So if you feel like you have mastered these, I would definitely recommend that you check out the second practice problem video. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.